Hi, this is Larry Mendte along with Joel Rosenberg, and we are here to debate the employer's use of social media to screen and monitor the activity of their employees. We've decided to cut this up into two parts: one, potential employees, and two, current employees. Joel is going to take the side of the employees. I'm going to take the side of the employers, saying that they do have the right to do this. And Joel is going to go first.
Thanks, Larry. I'm going to start off by saying that it's acceptable to believe that most people, and I've read in some cases one half to eight tenths of Americans are social media users, in particular Facebook, and that gives employers and recruiters a big opportunity for finding potential employees. Um, and potential and employers may be looking for people who have a particular political view or a particular religious view. And they can find that information on Facebook very easily. And this can become a very slippery slope, um, because when you start finding out that kind of information, including their age, their sexual orientation, etc., the friends they have, it becomes not only unethical, it becomes illegal. And I'll quote the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the federal law which was designed to protect most U.S. employees from employment discrimination based upon that employees or applicants' race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, end quote. What that means basically is that if they use any of that information to discount a candidate by with that information, they have not only done something unethical but also illegal. Larry?
If you don't want that information out there, don't put it out there. Especially don't put it out on public. If you don't change your settings to a more private setting, then you're putting your dirty laundry or your sexual preference or your religion out there for anyone to see. Everything you do or say online, unless you change your settings, is public, and it is fair game to look at for anybody, including a potential employer. The looking is perfectly legal, but as you said, there is some illegality, but that's already been covered. You can't use information you find online already, offline or online, certain information to discriminate against a potential employer. For instance, if you go online and you see that there's a woman that's going to have a baby, you can't use that fact to not hire her. That's already covered in the law. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a screening process, not using the information illegally. So the laws already apply off and online. And also, a bill has already been passed through Congress that prevents employers from asking for your password when you're looking for a job. Or actually, current employees too, or to befriend them online or to like them online so they have more access to your personal information. So you're right, illegal is illegal, but looking and getting some information online is perfectly okay. And everybody's doing it. In a survey, careerbuilder.com, and this survey was last year, I'm sure the number's much higher now, 40% of employers were screening applicants by looking at social media. And the things they were looking for, the two big red flags, were both legal. They were looking for things like trashing a former employer or using excessive, inappropriate language. They're even hiring other companies to make certain they do it legally. There's a big company called the Social Intelligence Corporation that is hired by some major corporations, and they have screened out, eliminated 10% of applicants because of what they said on social media. But here is the thing: knowing that, knowing that a potential employer is looking at you on social media, you can control that. You can make yourself more marketable. In doing so, Joel, you can turn a negative into a positive. everybody. And now I'm going to start the next one as we move on from potential employees to current employees, and using social media to check up on current employees again is fair game. It's not spying because, again, social media is public. You're putting up pictures, you're putting up comments, you're acting out online for everyone to see, including your current employer. Chances are you are also in your profile affiliating yourself with that company. So, like it or not, when you are online, you are a representative of that company. There are hundreds of people, hundreds, if you Google this, who have been fired across the country for putting up inappropriate pictures, for using racist language, for using sexually explicit language or pictures, for using sexist comments, for talking about their employer. In the vast majority of those cases that have gone to the courts, the law has sided with the employer. The only exceptions are when the employers catch people talking about their company in a group of employees. If they're talking about unfair business practices, an unfair environment, if they're talking about unfair wages, that's protected by law. Such discussions are protected by the Labor Relations Act as concerted activity, in that employers are allowed to gather to talk about their employee. But other than that, everything else is fair game, and you can be fired. The National Labor Relations Board right now is working with companies to try to get them to protect employees across the country, to get them to write out exactly what they're looking for online and let their employees know that they are being monitored online. It is something that's going to protect the employees more than the employers. So again, it is also against the law to ask for the password. So the law has already dealt with this problem. The law and the courts and Congress has already dealt with the legalities of this. But for the most part, employers can look and act on what you say online. So again, the bottom line is just be smart and know you're being watched. And I hate to repeat myself, but make it a positive, not a negative. Put yourself in the best light.
Right. And I agree. I mean, divulging company secrets is one thing, but having a discussion about the job, a manager, or working conditions is not grounds for termination. And you just mentioned that. But this isn't new. This has been going on since there have been companies. People gather around the water cooler, in the coffee room, etc., and talk about in hushed voices how the company is run, etc. Now we have social media, and employees should also have the expectation that they can discuss, and like you said, it is legal for them to do so. However, in some companies, they have social media policies that restrict free speech, and those are illegal. When they say you cannot talk about the company, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and you have to abide by this and you will be terminated, that is illegal. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that yes, be careful what you say, and better to say nothing at all about the company, but you are protected if you want to discuss issues